Jesus. I was just glad to be back in New York. I mean, Europe was great, but it just, it just kicked my ass. It's always good to come back to the Big Apple.
My college buddy has this place in Paris, and every year he has this huge bash. It usually lasts like a week. I wouldn't miss it for anything. Well, anyway, Harry, that's his name. His name is Harry. He's seeing this German girl, Donata. Well, after Harry's party broke up, Donata invited a bunch of us to go to Berlin, just to, hang out and recuperate for a while.
We were there for a couple of weeks, and then we decided to go to Barcelona. And I'd never been to Spain, but I heard it was amazing.
The girls are beautiful.
We were there for 3 weeks. Anyway, I was exhausted, and my money had run out, so I hopped the first jet back to JFK.
Tell me about that night.
Dad was in a very good mood. He and Dmitri never got along very well, but I know that both of them regretted it. He hadn't heard from Dmitri for over a month, and Dad was getting worried about him. Not that he'd ever tell me, but I could tell that he missed him. This was the first time Dmitri would meet Jennifer.
Not that Dad was particularly concerned with his opinion of her, he just wanted everyone to get along, and I think he wanted to show off a little.
What exactly do you mean by that?
Jennifer is very beautiful, and that's important to my father. I'm sure he wanted her to approve of his son. Things were a little tense.
Well, I was just looking forward to seeing my dad and sister. Having a nice dinner, relaxing a little bit, taking it easy, but Dad invited his new girlfriend, and it made things a little bit awkward.
You see, I had some stuff I needed to talk to my dad about, and I just didn't feel comfortable bringing it up with her around.
See, I knew that Dmitri was broke, and I knew he wanted to ask Dad to borrow some money, but he was nervous about it.
He didn't think your father would give it to him?
Well, about 6 months ago, Dmitri was arrested. He was caught drunk driving. He also had some cocaine on him, but not much.
But when Dad found out about it, he went through the roof. He told Dmitri that he had to start paying his own way, that the free ride was over.
And Dad was drinking that night. He got pretty ugly.
Dad had been drinking that night, and it got pretty ugly.
So Dmitri was afraid to ask for the loan. Both he and Dad got drunk that night. See, my brother is the type of person who needs to feel that he's the center of attention. And, well, that night he wasn't.
And well, that night he wasn't. Dad was fawning over Jennifer. She did most of the talking. He couldn't keep his hands off of her.
It was getting pretty late by that time, and I was in this position. I was staying at a friend's house and was literally down to my last $100. I needed to talk to my father about it. Well, every time I got him alone, he just brushed me off. He was drunk and he couldn't concentrate on anything but Jennifer.
Grushenka was 22 years old, and her face looked exactly that age. She had very white skin with a pale pink tint on her cheeks.
The modeling of her face might be said to be too broad, and the lower jaw was set a trifle forward. Her upper lip was thin, but the slightly prominent lower lip was at least twice as full and looking pouting.
But her magnificent, abundant dark brown hair, her sable-colored eyebrows, and charming gray-blue eyes with their long lashes would have made the most indifferent person, meeting her casually in a crowd in the street, stop at the sight of her face and remember it long after.
I have to confess that at first I really didn't like her.
She was quite a bit younger than Dad and seemed a bit shallow. I guess I was just a bit overcautious. After all, there was a substantial amount of money involved. But she turned out to be a very sweet person and very generous.
Generous in what ways?
She gave us a lot of latitude. We're not an easy family to get to know. Well, the evening came to a boil. Both of them had had too much to drink, and Dmitri was desperately trying to get Dad to listen to him, but he was too busy with Jennifer. He tried to pull Dad aside, but accidentally spilled his drink. My father swore at him and threw the glass at his head. I'm sure he didn't mean for it to hit Dmitri.
God, I regretted it the second it happened. I have a terrible temper. I got that from him. And I also had a bit to drink.
I also had a bit to drink, but I was so desperate at that moment. I couldn't believe he actually threw his glass at me. I didn't think rationally. I didn't think at all. I just reacted.
Just reacted.
I just reacted.
You reacted. How would you describe your reaction?
Justified.
I couldn't believe it. I'd heard about Dmitri, but had never actually met him before, and the first time I do, he starts a brawl.
He tries to break his father's nose. I mean, right there at dinner.
Well, he punched him in the face and ran out. Our family is.
Well, we've had scenes like this before, but nothing like this. I screamed, and my father fell over backwards, crashing into the coffee table.
Dmitri slammed the door behind him, and Sonia and I just stood there, not knowing what to do. Fyodor was on the floor, bleeding all over the carpet. Sonia finally went to get some ice and a towel.
I don't know why. Maybe it was the wine added to the shock, but I just suddenly found it all funny.
And once I started to laugh, I couldn't stop.